Welcome to Dante's Inferno, Canto 19. I'll be your conductor, Michael Haddad. Please buckle up and enjoy the ride. On today's journey through hell, we visit Circle 8, Bulger 3, home of the Simoniacs, who are accused of simony. The practice is named after Simon Magus, or Simon the Sorcerer, who is described as having Peter and John, disciples of Jesus, being paid in exchange for their empowering him to bestow the power of the Holy Spirit to anyone on whom they would place their hands on, signifying new believers of Christianity. Simonism is known as the practice of buying or selling religious pardons, offices, powers, and believers to join a religion. Their punishment is being buried upside down with flames draping all across their legs. They are stuck like this for the rest of eternity. There's a lot of symbolism involved in this punishment in this part of the book. First of all, when people are baptized or blessed, they're usually laying or standing right side up. However, because these sinners obtained the Holy Spirit illegally, they are facing upside down and inside the holes. Secondly, the oil, which is all over the sinner's legs, is used in blessing and baptisms, and is considered the gift of the Holy Spirit. While the sinners have the presence of the oil, it is falsely advertised. Since they technically do not have the Holy Spirit within them, the oil is placed on their legs. Lastly, fire, which is presented on top of religious people's heads in the Bible and in other scriptures, also represents the Holy Spirit, and is a welcoming sign for those who have it or have seen it. In the case of those in hell, it represents greed and something the sinners do not want to see, as it actually hurts them and burns them. As Dante and Virgil are viewing the flailing bodies, Dante spots one body that is burning more than the others. He has to see this body, so the men journey along the path to find the man. Immediately, this man mistakes Dante for Pope Boniface VIII, who at the time of Dante writing the poem Inferno, was the pope in charge in Italy. He was accused and charged for simony, and is one of Dante's biggest enemies. We find out that this man is Pope Nicholas III, because he said that the great mantle was once hung upon me, a term meaning that he was once pope. Also, Pope Nicholas III's last name, degli Orsini, translates to English as of the bear's cubs from Italian. Pope Nicholas III attempts to justify simony by claiming he wanted to improve the financial status of his family. He explains that the successors of those simonists show up in hell and push the predecessors farther into the ground, hence why he was expecting to see Pope Boniface VIII, his successor, in hell. He also believes that when Pope Boniface VIII comes to hell, he will have an even more evil successor on earth, Pope Clemente V. Clemente will bargain with the French king to guarantee his election into the papacy. Dante, however, has heard enough of talk. He feels the punishment for simonists is right. He believes the hole in the ground is a good fit and a good place for the Pope. Dante would continue to downgrade simonists, but he has too much respect for the papacy, except that he continues to go on. He compares Rome and the papacy as a prostitute who does certain things with kings in return for money. He feels the popes are just as heinous as the heretics they condemn in church. Dante goes on to accuse Constantine for funding the church after he converted to Christianity. While Dante goes on his rant, Nicholas begins to shift and kick violently in his hole, most likely from a guilty conscience. Virgil is so pleased with Dante's behavior that he picks him up and carries him to the bridge like a baby to return on their adventure. There are two major people or groups that could be placed into this respective circle and ditch of hell. The first person is Joel Osteen, a world-renowned preacher from Houston, Texas. He charges people $15 each to attend one of his sermons at his super church. It is highly immoral to charge money for people to attend religious get-togethers, as the only thing you should bring is an open mind. Selling tickets to church and having people buy them to be part of your religion describes the sins of simony perfectly. The second person is actually a whole country. The Roman Catholic Church in Germany charges a church tax of 8 to 10% on their tax forms. The taxes are given as funds for the Catholic Church. Those who consider themselves non-religious pay no tax at all. Once again, it is highly immoral to charge people money to be a certain religion. This tax could turn a lot of people away from Catholicism in Germany, which could hurt them in the long run.